Cheshvan. So the two reasons why we call it Mal Cheshvan. One is that, like we said, it has no Yom Tovim. So we want to make it feel important. So we call it Mal Cheshvan. In the Gemara, if somebody is an important person, you call him Mal. You follow? And another reason is that we get rain in Cheshvan. The first rains really start in Cheshvan. And the word Mar means a drop. There's another way of translating the word Mar as meaning a drop. Kamar midli. Yeah, how do you call it? A drop from a bucket. So that's like a way of hinting at the rain that comes in Cheshvan. Mar Cheshvan.
Wow.
You follow?
Yeah.
Okay, so the Rebbe says, what's this got to do with what? So he says, V'inyan nika gam b'toichna shel ha'parsha. He said, this Inyan that we've been discussing, which is very wondrous, he said that's recognizable also in the name and the content of the parsha, which is Bereishis. He said, Bo meduba al brias ha'olam. That in this parsha we're told about the creation of the world. He said, "B'kriya zu mishchadeshes habriya." The Rebbe makes an amazing point that when you didn't read in the Torah, it's interesting. When I first came here to Tzvaz, and I met the guys in the yeshiva, Tmi Medora. When I first came here to Tzvaz, there was a guy, two guys. They were shluchim at that time in the yeshiva. They walked up to me and they said that they've heard that somewhere in Ayin Beis the Rebbe talks about Kriyas HaTorah, really high stuff. And so I knew where to show them, and I showed them where it was written in Ayin Beis, and they went away and they came back the next day, and their eyes were mummies out on stalks. Their eyes. They said, I've never seen anything like this before. I said, what does the Rebbe say over there in Ayin Beis? He says that when you read the Torah, B'tzibur, what you're doing is you're bringing into action in the world everything which is written in the Parsha. It all reoccurs and rehappens in the world. Yeah, that's why Kriyas HaTorah is such an important thing. So the Rebbe says that Bereishis is a pretty high stuff. Said Bereishis Bara, this is the beginning of the whole creation. The whole world is being oil, and afterwards water, and afterwards this and this. The whole creation being So the Rebbe said, when you read that in the Torah, and you say Bereishis Bara, and then you reckon out all the details, the whole world is shuddering. The whole world is being created, especially at that moment. So the difference is, it's happening every moment, according to the Baal Shem. The Rebbe says that, however, when it happened for the first time, then it was pretty spectacular. You guys, I could tell the story, but if I told you the story, then everybody would complain that we don't learn anything. So
yeah, no, who doesn't
I won't be able to tell you the story.
Who doesn't want? We have time, we have time.
When he was a book in the yeshiva, he used to complain about that. So there's a story about a great, tonight is the Bereishis your time, well, today. Yeah. So the Bereishis had a famous Talmud, and he was called the Rabbaran, what was his name? Anyway, Rabbi Aaron, I've forgotten his family name. He was a big Talmud at the Bereishis. So once there were two Rabbanim in the town where this Rabbi Aaron was, and they said they hit the town very early in the morning, just when the sun was just going up. So they said, listen, to this Rabbi Aaron, he lives here in this town, let's go see what's he doing at this time of the morning. For sure he's not asleep, what's he doing? So they creep around to the house and they sort of creep in through the door. All of a sudden they see that the servant, there's a servant, is holding an elderly man, holding him by his arm, very powerfully, and this man is standing by the window and he's looking at the sun going up, this elderly man, and he's all white and he's fainting. And this guy is holding him together, you know. So they run up and they said, listen, because now the guy's white as a sheet. You have to call a hospital or, you know, ambulance or help to do something. So the guy says, take it easy, I'm used to this, I know what I'm doing. You know, it'll calm down after a while. So they stand and they watch it. After about 20 minutes, he starts to sort of gradually come together, a bit of colour comes back into his face, a bit of her. So when he sort of finally came back and everything, then he saw these two people that came in. So he said, you know, who are you guys? So they said who they were. And then I said, listen, Rabbi, you look pretty terrible, you know. You looked as if you were gone, you know. Gee, you sort of come back, you made a good comeback. And he said, well, why shouldn't I go? So I said, well, you know, why should you go? So he said, I was looking out at the sunrise. So he said, the Baal Shem Tov says that every moment the world is created from the new. So he said, just imagine if you were standing at the beginning of the creation and you saw the sun go up for the first time ever. What would you have done? He said, you would have gone right to the sheet and you would have fainted, right? So he said, well, according to the Baal Shem Tov, that's what's happening. He said, when I look at the sun, that's the first time the sun's ever gone up. So he said, that's why he fainted. However, the Rebbe said that the ears are different, because Mami's the first time ever. It's like the first time, but the first time ever was a big hidden. So the Rebbe said, by reading Bereishis in the shul, in the Kriya Satira, it's like getting at the moment, at the first time, that the sun and the whole world is created. Right from the first moment, follow? Eh?
Yeah.
Pretty powerful stuff. So he said, B'kriya zu mishchadeshes abriya shekol inyone ha'olam l'shona ha'chadosha for a whole new year. V'zeh, he said, ma'anik es ha'koyach la'avoda bo'olam b'meshech kol ha'shona. And he said, the fact that the world becomes a new world by the Kriya Satira in Shabbos Bereishis, that gives you a power to serve the Eibush of the whole year in a different way than you've done up to now. The Indian said, he said, Mudgash, yeah, Bereishis aparsha. This matter is very, how do you call it, what's the word, emphasized at the beginning of the parsha. The Chazal Dershim, our sages learn, this is a lot in the Medrash Rabbah, also in the Medrash Tanchuma, the two Medrashim, where they say, Bereishis, Bara Elokim V'goima, and they say like this, they say, you know, the first os of the Torah is base. And base is how much? 2. Base of 2. And the word Reishis means like high point or beginning point. So they learn out from that there are 2 equal beginning or high points. And what are they? He says, Bishvil HaTorah shenikras Reishis. Yeah, the whole world was created for these 2 things. Yeah, Bishvil means because of the Torah shenikras Reishis. Yeah, Reishis Darchoi. That's a pasuk. Hashem Kanoni Reishis Darchoi. It's a pasuk in Iyot, referring to the Torah. Or Bishvil Yisrael shenikroim Reishis Tuosoi. There's a pasuk in the Nevi'im, in Yirmiyahu, I think it is, it says that the Yidden are called Reishis Tuosoi, the beginning of Hashem's crops, literally, what he causes to grow. So the Rebbe said, Hainu, that comes to tell us that the Tachlis, the ultimate point, and the Matorah, the goal and the aim of the whole creation, hu b'shvil, it's for the purpose of, yeah, 2 Reishis, yeah, ha-Reishis, yeah, he said, haloyheim Torah v'Yisrael. So the Rebbe said, Pir zeh hu kamuvan al derech drash, boyd, yeah, shalafi apshat, Meduba al Reishis Abriya. In other words, if you learn that posik simply, you wouldn't be dreaming about the Torah and the Yidden and all that. You just say it's the beginning of the creation. So the simple meaning of that posik is that it's talking about the beginning of creation. The fact that our sages learn from the Beis and from the Bereishis that it's referring to Torah and Yidden, that's already a drosh, and he called a homiletic interpretation. It's not the simple meaning. So ask yourself the question, what's that drosh got to do with the simple meaning? The simple meaning means that it's the beginning of the creation and the earth. So you might say, well, that's the way our sages learned it. They doesn't. So the Rebbe is going to point out that we see a very amazing thing, that l'chorah, these two things imply two different things. If I say that the world was created for the sake of, and for the purpose of, and for the goal of Torah and Yidden, that means that they're very, very high. And they are much higher than the world, and the whole creation was only for their sake. Which means that they're way up somewhere, and the world was created for them. But if I say that it just means the simple meaning of the way the order of the creation, then of course it's talking about the creation. So the Rebbe says, Kuntai said, if I learn that drosh of our sages, I'm talking on one level. And yet if I learn the simple level, I'm talking on another level altogether. So you might say, well look, there's thousands of droshes of our sages, and nobody asks any questions, you know, what? So we're going to see that the Rebbe is going to bring down that Rashi, in his Pirush al Torah, well, it's well known that Rashi learns only the simple meaning. Rashi brings down, first of all, the drosh. And he says, Bereishis, referring to Yisrael and Torah, what they are the Bereishis. And then he said, but if you come to tell me the simple meaning, then the simple meaning is that it means the beginning of the creation. So since Rashi is only dealing with the simple meaning, why does he bring the drosh, which doesn't have to do with the simple meaning? Why does he bring that first? He should first of all tell me what the simple meaning is, and maybe not even say anything about the drosh, because there are hundreds of other droshes as well.
Because he's not
satisfied. The fact that Rashi brings that drosh, and he brings that before the simple meaning, is a sign that that drosh, it does have some very, very close and powerful relationship to the simple meaning, even though it seems to be something else altogether. There's a simmer that Rashi learns that it does have a connection. So the Rebbe is going to ask, what is that connection? What is the connection of Yidden and the Torah with the whole creation? And how is it that Rashi brings that before he brings the simple meaning? That's what he says. Hina yedua shekasha yesh shnei pirushim b'mila achas hare yesh beineim shaychim. It's well known, a big cloud, that where in Torah there are two explanations in one word, then there must be some sort of connection between them. They look to be different, but they must have some sort of interrelation. Shloima, ein pirush ador shekol erod mehem have a pirush nivra, lekishalatmi. But it doesn't mean that the explanation of these two pirushim means that each one is an explanation on its own right and has its own existence. And he says, L'moshel, Benidan Didan, he said, Al Pi Adrosh, Al Pirush, in the matter we're talking about, the Pirush of the Drosh, Bereishis, he said, Hu Rak HaTorah Yisrael. V'sheilel HaPirush shall be Pshat, yes, Meduba al raises a bria. So if you just look at a quick look, it would seem that if I say that Bereishis and Bereishis are referring to the Torah and Yidden, doesn't seem to have anything to do with the simple meaning of the bria. It's talking about the Mila that there is in the Torah and in the Yidden. Doesn't seem to have to do with the simple. Ella, we have to say that the Pirush there, Moisiv al Pirush HaPoshet, that there's some that he called deep inner extra message in that Pirush of Yidden and the Torah, which adds on to the simple meaning it's talking about the creation. So he said, V'kan tzorich lahovin, here we need to understand, if according to that pshat of our sages, that it follows that Yidden and Torah are higher than the whole world, meaning incomparably higher, because the whole world would have been created for them. ואם כן, היכן הקשר בין שני הפירושים הנראים רחוקים לגמרי זה מזה? אם כן, what is the connection between the two Purushim? The Yidden and the Torah are like they are the Ika beginning and the Ika, as it were, that they call it aim and purpose of the whole creation, which means that they're very high and they're beyond the creation, and the creation is only aiming at them. And how does that fit with the fact that there's a simple story that this is the creation? How does that how do they get together, and how do they really form one period? So the Rebbe says, there's more requirement to explain this matter, that Rashi b'pirushay, Torah maybe shnei pirushim elu. The Rashi brings these two pirushim. Kasher hu maktim, however, when he does bring the two pirushim, he proceeds, and he called maktim, he puts first the pirush shel derech drosh. He puts first the pirush about the Torah and the Yidden, the base raising, b'shvil ha-Torah v'Yisrael. And then afterwards he brings, but if you want the simple meaning, then it means just the creation. So the Rebbe says, if you want to bring a drush, first of all say what the simple meaning is, and then the drush. And that's very usual what Rashi does. But here he does the opposite. Here he puts the drush first, and then he brings the simple meaning. First of all he says the drush, and then he brings the simple meaning. So he said, Hari davar shel Rashi b'pirushehu kefi shehu atzmei ma'id. Like he himself says on many occasions, the derech hapshat. Rashi is only concerned with the simple meaning. And he writes in many places, Ani loy bosi ela lipshuta shel mikra. I only came for the simple meaning of the verse. Madua eifoi im kain. Why is it that nidrashu kan the pirush reason? Why is it Rashi demands, first of all, the first pshat, which is one of the drush? It's not a simple meaning at all. Shu atzmai madishkan shu al derech hadrosh. He himself calls it, Rashi calls it a drush. So why does he put that first? He said, Bo'echa pirush hasheni hu lefi hapshat. It's according to the simple meaning. Ve'im ochein yesh mahovi pirush zeh madua. If he wants to bring the drush about Yidden and the Torah, why does he bring that first? But Pirush Rishon, the Ika, it would seem that that's not only the Pirush Rishon, the first Pirush, but it would seem to be the principal Pirush. So what would you guys suggest from that whole question? What would seem to be, I mean, the answer is jumping out and punching you in the eye.
The world belongs to the Torah and the Yidden. The world belongs to, was created for the Torah and the Yidden. And the world was created and belongs to the Yidden.
But the Torah and the people have precedence.
The Yidden and the Torah. If you know, and if you got Yidden and the Torah, then you can have a world. If you don't have Yidden and the Torah, there's no reason to have a world. In other words, that the whole Matthias of the creation and the whole Matthias of the world is only Yidden and the Torah.
No.
And once you get, and Rashi wants to show you that even in the Pshat, you have to say that. And if you don't say that, then you can forget it. You don't have what to learn about the whole creation. But if you know that there's Yidden, and you know the Torah, then you know they're the Ika, then you can start going and working out the way the world was created. Wait. You guys are all big belly moichim. When I learned that, I had to strap myself in my chair. So otherwise I would have just collapsed. In other words, that the whole Matthias of the creation are Yidden and the Torah. If you don't have them, you don't have what to have the creation. Akushim mishchazekes, that's the kasha. And let's jump a little bit. Nimtze evo, ki yeshna, from that it follows that there are inyan miyuchad bekach. There's a very special inyan in that she'hascholas ha'teira hu b'inyonei yehabriya yehaveloiba mitzvah. So the Rebbe brought down in the previous thing that Rashi says also at the beginning of his Pirush, that Rashi said the first mitzvah in the Torah is way over in Shmoy. It's in Bereishis, not Bereishis, Chodesh Hazeh Lochem, Reish Kadoshim. That's way over in Pasha Boy. So the Rashi is saying that if the only Indian of the Torah was just to tell us the mitzvah, then it should have started way over there. What's this whole story of Bereishis and creation and the whole thing? It's all to tell me that we should be able to answer the Goyim, that really Eretz Yisrael belongs to the Yidden. And so once again, it's very unusual that Rashi puts that right at the beginning. I mean, he could have said that who knows where, but he put that right at the beginning is a sign, another further indication that the Torah is not just a story of anything. It's not just a story of what are the mitzvahs, and it's not just a story of what are the creation. But first of all, it's a story that there are Yidden and there's the Torah. And then once you know that, then you move in to what am I doing with the world, B'klal? And once I move in, I've got all the deeds of the world, according to the Yidden and the Torah, all settled, then I can work out what's the mitzvah. What does Hashem want that we should do in B'poyel?
Maybe that's why the Yebenites say give onkelos over when they do the Perush, because it's from the...
it's from Sinai,
But it was also from Gary. They were also from Cicero. They were descended from the Gary.
Very good idea, very nice. Abamila says the Rebbe, we come up here with an amazing picture that the Torah is really talking about Yidden and about the Torah, and then once you know that you've got Yidden and the Torah, then you move into other inyanim. I feel that the very important things like mitzvah, which means that the Torah and the Yidden are tremendously important. And they are the whole purpose of why Hashem got moving this whole thing called creation. Because there's the old question, what did Hashem need the whole thing for? He was perfectly all right on his own. What do you have to have the whole thing of creation and the whole thing? So for some reason, Hashem wanted Yidden. And then after he's got the Yidden, he wanted the Torah. Maybe the other way around, maybe he wanted the Torah and then the Yidden. So there's a famous Gemara where the Rebbe brings it down, and also a Medrash Rabbah, which says that several things were primordial to the world, and two of them were Torah and Yidden. And so then there's a Tona Devei Eliyahu, another Medrash, and the odd thing is, this is not written openly in the Tona. It's written in another place. But our sages, our Rebbeim, created in the name, quoted, in the name of the Tona Devei Eliyahu. And the Tona Devei Eliyahu says that I've got two things which are primordial to the whole world, which were Yidden and the Torah. Which one was primordial to which? So he says that the Yidden were primordial to the Torah. So first of all the Yidden, and then after the Torah. So how do I know that?
I made it up.
First of all, the Yidden, and then the Torah. How do I know that?
The shorsh of the Yid's neshama. The shorsh of the neshama of the Yidden.
You have to what?
The shorsh of the neshama of the Yidden.
But how do I know that? So he says the Torah developed, which is not written on the Torah, but I say to our Rebbeim, is that it says the Torah says Tzav es b'nai Yisrael.
Commanded.
Everything in the Torah is Tzav es b'nai Yisrael. Similar to Bereishis must already be there. If the Yidden are not there, then who are we commanding? And similar, the whole Torah is subservient to the Yidden. You follow first of all the Yidden and then the Torah.
Time to the book.
Time is waiting for the times.
Now the Torah.
Now the time?
Can't ask questions.
He
started to cry. It's so beautiful, he started to cry, you know.
There's an old saying that if a little bit of mashkir of a brain spills on a sefer, that's a good thing for the sefer. It's very good.
Thank you.
No, a little bit of marshmallow.
What about orange juice?
Did you
ever see the Rebbe's Siddur? Did you ever see it?
Oh yeah, full.
Full of them.
So, I mean, this stuff is just so powerful. So I think what we'll do by way of completion, we'll just sort of bring in a word, because we're running short of time, and I'm running short of my throat. And what we'll bring in, the Rebbe says at the end something very, very important to our whole situation right now. The Rebbe said, Im Kain, the whole creation is for the sake of Yidden. Which means that Yidden, without them there's no creation, there's not even the giving of the Torah. First of all, the Yidden. So the Rebbe says, Im Kain, where are Yidden supposed to be? And what part of the world, if they're already going to be in the world, where are they supposed to be? And he says that's why Rashi begins with Eretz Yisrael. Rashi begins these old piras with Eretz Yisrael, Fabuja. Why does he begin with Eretz Yisrael? Because he wants to say that only the Yidden can be in Eretz Yisrael. And that's what the Eivishter meant. Before certain point, some other guys were there, Hashem said, okay, you guys can be there, but when I want my Jewish people to be there, I'm sorry, I'm taking it away and giving it to the Jewish people. So the Rebbe said, from that we see that anybody who says that Eretz Yisrael, complete, absolute, doesn't belong to the Jewish people, he is saying Hepah, the whole Indian of Rashi, Hepah, the whole Indian of Torah, Hepah of everything. And so that is where we're holding right now. You don't see it in front of your eyes. We're holding the issue which is now going on at the moment is where the Goyim who are not part. And the Rebbe says that that's why Yidden are called the Am HaNivcha. That he called the chosen people. And the Rebbe said that all the Goyim, when they talk about the Jews, they call them the chosen people. So he said, all the Goyim know that the Yidden are the chosen people.
They don't like it.
Because that is the etzem way the Eivishter made everything. So he said, everybody who's got a bit of sensitivity knows that the Jews are the chosen people. So he said, anybody who does hate of Mizeh, he's going against Hashem, he's going against the whole creation, and he's bringing confusion and breakage into the whole creation. Yeah, so what do we see in front of our eyes? The fact that these crazy guys gave the Arabs to think that maybe they might get part of Eretz Yisrael. And look at what's happened. Confusion, murder, and bloodshed, terrible things. Yeah? That's what the Rebbe said. Once, however, it'll be known, and it's known anyway, that the Goyim, the Rebbe said, even the President of the United States, even he knows that these are the chosen people, and where are they supposed to be? In the land of Israel. The land of Israel belongs to the Jewish people only. He knows that. But because he keeps hearing from the Jews themselves that maybe they're prepared to give it away, so he thinks, well, if they're prepared to give it away, why should I bother? Yeah? Remember, all we got to do is tell the world that we're not prepared to give it away. Yeah? So you don't like that, then you just got to find a way with it. You know? Not that we have to find a way. You got to find a way. It's your problem, not ours. That's what the Rebbe says in the Seder. That's exactly what he says in the Seder. And the Rebbe says that all the troubles and all the things come from making the Goyim believe and think that they have some part in Eretz Yisrael. That's where all the trouble comes. And so it's really amazing. It's mamish what's happening now. And I want to tell you guys just a little story. which is Lafitte goes in. And I want you to know the story is true. After the 6 Day War, when they took the Kaiser, there was a very famous person. His name was Bereishis Segal, his name, and I knew him very well. Bereishis Segal. He got in 3 days after the taking of the Kaiser and everything, when it was all rubble and still leftovers from the war and that thing. He got into the Tzemach Tzedek show. He actually